All right, class, here's the final vocabulary video of Module 2, and it's a doozy, okay? So we cover chapters 34 to 36, which is kind of a lot of ground, a good chunk of words here, and we actually dip below the 50 occurrences threshold here a little bit too, but they're just some really important words that we want you to learn that we include in here. I always make my students learn all of the vocabulary here in the textbook, just because vocabulary is like horsepower for translation, right? You just have to have some really good depth of vocabulary in order to read and translate New Testament Greek, and so that's what we've done. And so this is our last week. It's kind of a long one, but here we go. Didomi. I give, or I give out, I entrust, I give back, I put. Really, I give is the way you can remember this. That's by far the most common way that it's translated. Ta ethnos, nation, if it's singular. If it's plural, the ethnoi means the Gentiles. Okay, so you encounter that word Gentiles a lot. Loipos, remaining, if it's being used as an adjective. The rest, if it's being used as a noun. For the rest, or henceforth, if it's used as an adverb. Okay, that's a bit complex. I would say just remember remaining for right now, and we'll go from there. Hamouses, this is a name, Moses. Okay. Paradidomi, you'll notice this is didomi with para on the front, so it's just going to be a little stronger. I entrust, I hand over, or I betray. Pipto, I fall. Huparko, I am or I exist. One of those to be verbs, kind of like a me or genomai, which we've seen. Huparko is another one of those. Hagiadzo, I consecrate or I sanctify. You know the word hagios, the noun, which is holy. Or saints. Holy is really an adjective. If it's used as a noun, it means like saints or holy ones, that sort of thing. Here's the verb for I consecrate or I sanctify. Hamartano, I sin. Similarly, we know hamartia, which means sin as a noun. Here is the verb for sin. Hamartolos, sinful as an adjective can also be used to talk about a sinner. Hey anastasis, resurrection. You probably see the stas or stasis in there related to the word istemi. Okay, ana means up and istemi means stand, so it means like stand up, not really just stand up. It really means resurrection, right? But you see kind of the etymology behind the scenes there. Apangelo, I report or I tell. You probably see angelos in there, right? Ap angelos turned into a verb, report or tell. Diakoneo, I serve. He diakonia, service. Dikaiao, I justify or I vindicate. We learned dikaios earlier, right? In an earlier class period. This is the verb for I justify or I vindicate. Hey, thlipsis. This is a fun word to say. Thlipsis. It's kind of a dark definition, though. It means affliction or tribulation. Ta elasterion, propitiation, expiation, or place of propitiation. Okay, you'll also see sometimes this shorter as hilasmos, as propitiation. That's kind of like in the Old Testament, the Day of Atonement. That's the word that's used for atonement. Okay, John's going to talk about this in his letters. Staurao, I crucify. Ha soter, savior or deliverer. He soteria, salvation or deliverance. Phanerao, I reveal or I make known. Within the world of philosophy and that sort of thing, there's phenomenology, which is talking about, what we take in through our senses, what we observe and are aware of, which comes from this word, phanerao. Phobos, fear or reverence. A phobia is something that you're chronically scared of, right? Comes from this word phobos. Onistemi, I rise up, I get up, or I raise. Notice that if it's intransitive, that's what that intr period means. Intransitive means that it doesn't take a direct object. Okay, so if it's used intransitively without a direct object, it means I raise up or I get up. Okay. If it's used transitively, meaning that there's a direct object that this verb is acting upon, then it means I raise that thing, right? So if it's another person, I raise my son, my child, I raise, something like that. So that's when we talk about intransitive versus transitive, that's what we mean. And sometimes that plays with the definition a little bit. Anoigo, I open. I always remember this one because when I was learning Greek, anoigo is one of those words that has lots of different confusing forms, and I remembered that anoigo was annoying, and it means I open. Aphiemi, I let go, I leave, I permit, can also mean I forgive. Deiknumi, I show or I explain. Idios, one's own. Istemi, I stand. Once again, intransitively without a direct object means I stand. If there is a direct object, if it's being used transitively, it can mean I cause to stand. Mesos, middle or in the midst. Okay. Think about Mesopotamia, the area of Mesopotamia in the Middle East. Potomos means river, so Mesopotamia means in the middle of the rivers or the midst of the rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates and those, right? And so Mesos is middle. Tithemi, I put or I place. Phemi, I say or I affirm. And guys, we're 335 words in. You now know 82.99% of all the word occurrences in the New Testament. That is nothing to shake a stick at. That is important. That is good. That is progress. There's ways to keep going on vocabulary, of course, as well. But this is a pretty good group to know, and really preps you to read and translate the New Testament. We'll see you next time.